Now, the ASX has been around with us for ages. 10 years. 2010 this car came out, and in that time it's had a couple of little nips and tucks. There is the old one. There is the new one. Hold on a sec. Now you can see that the old one looked okay, but the new one looks much better. It's got the new corporate front end. Well, when I say new, it's got the Mitsubishi family front end. And it's not unlike this Triton. And this front end, I think, works particularly well. I like the way these new LED headlights join with the grille. The grille's new too, by the way. And the bit of trim brings you down here for the LED driving lights. I just think this looks neat and resolved and pleasant. Then we get to the engines. All of the ASXs had this 2-litre engine. And with the update came this 2.4 litre model for what I think is a rather modest power gain. It's 123 kilowatts now. That seemed like a lot of trouble to go to for such a relatively small gain. And there's a mountain of space in here. I mean, look, it's not just the fact that there's not a cover on this, except for this little bit at the front. It's the fact that this is a tiny engine in a really big engine bay. But it's the side profile that I think is particularly successful. And with the new front and back grafted on, it's the bit that I think looks absolutely brilliant. And it's one of the reasons that I think the car still looks up to date and current. I love the flowing line, and I like the fact that it doesn't kick up at the back. That sort of look really irritates me. I like the built-in roof rails, and you can't see it, but on there is a full-length sunroof. I'll show you that from inside. Two-tone, 18-inch wheels. And as you move along the front, you'll notice the mirrors are folded. With the key in my pocket, all I have to do is press the little rubber button, the mirrors unfold, and the door opens. Repeat the process to lock it. And the best part about this is, and this is something that some brands really miss, there's a little rubber button, one of those buttons here under the Mitsubishi symbol at the back, so you can lock all of the doors from that. And you can unlock by pressing the big rubber button beside it. The usual luggage cover, leave that in place for a little bit of extra sound deadening, and the seats go down 60-40 split, and they do fold flat. But come and have a look at this. In the back is this stupidly big subwoofer from the 9-speaker Rockford Fosgate sound system. 50 litres you lose because this thing is taking up all the space in the back. I mean, it looks great and it sounds brilliant, but I think I'd rather have the space. The thing is, I've got this set for me to drive, and look how much space there is. There's a mountain of space and a mountain of headroom, even with the sunroof, which I think is particularly important. Though I find the look particularly uninspiring, and for some reason there's only a mat pocket behind the passenger seat. There's no air outlets here for air conditioning, so you're relying on the air from the front. And the front, as you see, plenty of space, again plenty of headroom, even with the sunroof, although I've got the internal shade open, but we'll see that when we're on the move. The single zone climate control, I find that a bit of a letdown, but there's 2 USB points in the front, seat heating, and a power outlet. But the center console with this rather smart aluminium trim looks rather bare. There's no buttons or anything on it. There's a couple of cup holders behind that, and you'll notice the steering wheel is particularly neat as well. The other thing is the center console, again, very, very clean. There's just a few buttons with this 8-inch screen. Now the screen, remember, is connected to the Rockford Fosgate sound system. Try and say that 14 times really fast. And includes things like Apple CarPlay. One glaring omission is digital radio. I think if you've got Apple CarPlay, have digital radio as well. But the system is fairly easy to use. The top models, of course, get navigation. The rest of them don't. You've got to make do with the maps in Apple CarPlay. Now listen to this. It just screams. So by the time you get to the other side of the intersection, the CVT is screaming its head off. Now that loud bong is the traffic light speed camera warning. It's incredibly loud, and in the week that I had it, I didn't bother turning it off. Usually that's the first thing I do, simply because I know where the speed cameras are, mostly. But if you didn't, it is quite a handy thing to have. And the speed limits in this area have been recently changed. As far as the drive goes, the 2.4 litre engine doesn't feel appreciably faster than its 2 litre counterpart. And remember, that's all they had up until recently. So as I pointed out before, the cabin design is neat and it is functional, but it just doesn't feel very luxurious. And of course, it's not luxurious. These surfaces are soft-ish, but not soft. That's a little bit hard. Why are you stopping? God, some people just can't drive. Although admittedly, they've turned this into an absolute Sasquatch of a way to get around Sydney. Sydney Airport is just over there, and these roads have become just a complete spaghetti of lines and no one knows where they're going. So I can turn off my wipers and lights and so forth, or I can leave them in full automatic mode. So they're currently in automatic mode. The lights also, the LED lights also have an auto high beam function. And the other thing you notice is that when you do stick your boot in, the engine is quite noisy and raucous. There's no stop-start function either, so once you start your engine, it's going until you stop. There is, however, blind spot monitoring. So you can't see it at the moment, but the mirror on that side had a little car in it. Jesus, Mary and Joseph. It's like a smash-up derby. There's also autonomous emergency braking and reverse cross traffic alert, but that doesn't come with braking. So you've got to listen for the beep and then stop. And you get a little warning on your screen, an audible warning as well. Oh, now you'll also notice while we're stopped, let me try this. You can see that full length roof closing. Now I think that goes some way for making up for a few of the foibles, but again, that's just in the top model. I mentioned in the written article the fact that there are no active steering safety features in this car. So in other words, the steering doesn't assist you in the lane, it doesn't assist you with active lane control or active blind spot monitoring or any of those things. So you've got to kind of watch out. Of course, there's no active steering for parking either. So it's very much an old school car. Those safety features I've mentioned are called ADAS, or active safety something 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 features. And the bottom models don't have that. Now the other thing I want to mention is the bottom model also comes in the CVT that this has got, but it also comes in a manual. That car is not much change out of 27,000, and this car is not much change out of 36,000. Now on that basis, you're going to be measuring your car against other, even Japanese makers like Mazda and Toyota. Both of those have active steering, so active lane control, active cruise control, etc. That's the other thing. Although we do have cruise control, which I shall set now, it's not active, so it's keeping me at the speed, but it's not going to slow down when the car's in front slow down. Now we're at 80 kilometers an hour, and you can hear that there is a little bit of road noise, and at 110, like I was the other day, there's a little bit of wind noise as well, but just a little bit. What this car needs is more power. It needs more power. And the other thing is, let me get into that lane. It's a front wheel drive. So front wheel drive only with no all-wheel drive option. And that's something that some of the opposition have. Not all of them, but some of them. That doesn't stop it from being one of the country's best-selling cars. It's consistently in the top 10. It's one of Mitsubishi's best sellers. And behind Triton, it's one of the mainstays of the company. The other thing is warranty. This car's a 5-year warranty. Triton has a 7-year warranty. Why? Why didn't they just roll a 7-year warranty out across the entire brand? You also get 3 years worth of cap price servicing, but only 12 months worth of roadside assist. And there's a caveat. You can extend that 12 months of roadside assist for a further year by taking it to a Mitsubishi dealer for your cap price service, and another year by taking it for another cap price service. So there are conditions on their membership to your local auto club. You can hear just then the front wheels scramble for grip. They do, and it gets grip, there's no doubt about that. Traction control takes care of all that. But the fact that it's not all-wheel drive in wet weather like it is today, or damp weather like it is today, really makes a huge difference. So in summary, now that we've stopped, ASX is quite good value, there's no doubt about it. It's spacious, it's roomy. The interior it's okay, and the top model gets leather appointed seats, which means some of the covering comes from a cow, some of it comes from a factory. The other thing that I've missed is a digital speedo. I really like to know exactly what speed it is. The dials are quite clear to read, but I just like a digital speedo. And I also find the driver instruments a little bit old-fashioned. I pointed that out in the written review. That's all from Mitsubishi ASX. As always, if you've liked the film, hit just there to subscribe.